Hey folks, Crazy Climber 80 here again, and this time we're going to look at game number 9 in our 20 from the Sega CD series. This is a turn-based tactical RPG, and it's super long. This game was created by, Sonic Software Planning and Sega in 1994 and released in the US in 1995, and this is called Shining Force CD, and this is part of the Shining series of games. There was Shining in the Darkness for the Sega Genesis, but originally there was Shining Force 1 and 2 for the Game Gear. And this is a combination of those two games. There are some bonus stories as well.
When the Runefaust army
and here's the opening story here. I am much more used to the traditional RPGs of
Dark Dragon was
getting to explore multiple lands, running into battles, leveling up by beating weak enemies over and over and over again, going into towns, visiting people, talking to people, visiting shops, etc. This is not like that. This is mostly battle after battle after battle after battle. And I prefer the other way, but the story in this really won me over, and the characters were pretty cool. This was popular among RPG fans back in the day. There were a lot of great RPGs for the Sega CD system, or Mega CD system.
And Anri returned to her kingdom as the Queen of Guardia. With help from Ken, Luke, and Lo, they rebuilt the kingdom from the ashes of
there are
invasion.
4 stories in this game, and the first 2 stories are based on Shining Force 1 and 2, again for the Game Gear. But this has much better music.
20 years after.
And probably slightly improved graphics. This doesn't have cinema scenes if you're looking for that, unfortunately. But I do like the character design. They're very anime-like. But you are, by default, your name is Nick, but you get to change it. And you are a young soldier who is the prince of a land called Cypress. And through the events of the game, you eventually become king. And here is the bookkeeper. And you get to start here with book number 1. You can save your progress and then pick up the game and pick up where you left off. There will be opportunities to go to shops and buy weapons and armor and items, but those will only be between certain battles. And like I said, the game strings together a whole bunch of battles. The first story or first book has 22 battles. And some of those battles can take like 30-40 minutes. So this game is super long. Thank you. Russell is a cool name. You can choose your difficulty level: easy, normal, hard, super hard. I chose easy. Your characters can level up, but you won't have the ability to farm weak enemies like I was saying earlier. You'll have to fight the enemies in the battles. So now the story of this one goes that the land of Cypress has an ambassador, and he's evil. His name is Woldol, and he puts Queen Anri under a sleeping spell. And she's the queen of the land of Guardiana. And Guardiana's elite fighting force, known as the Shining Force, goes and invades Cypress in retaliation. And there will be Cypress resistance forces that will join you. And the goal in this game is to free the queen from her spell. And then there will be a second story, which we'll get into a little bit later. There's no way I was going to do a full playthrough. That would have taken way too damn long. I just wanted to show you bits and pieces of the stories. And here she gets a sleeping spell cast on her. But you will eventually kill the bad guy there. And his name again is Woldol. Woldol, and he's the Cypress ambassador. He's a bad guy. But in a tactical turn-based RPG like this, each character gets a turn, and you get to move them a certain amount of space. You have a space that you're gifted, and you can only move so far in that space. And if you can't reach the enemy or be able to attack the enemy, you have to just stop and let somebody else take a turn. You will have up to 4 items that you can have in your possession, and that includes weapons. And here the supporting cast members introduce themselves. There's Roos, and he's a strong axeman, and he whistles for his buddies to come and introduce themselves. And Shade is an archer. Archers are nice to have because something I didn't mention, each character has their own range of attack. Some characters can only attack a short distance, and others can attack from a greater distance, or a diagonal distance in the case of an archer. So an archer can be like around the corner from an enemy, like maybe around a building or something, and they can still hit the enemy. So know what range of attack each character has, whether or not they need to get up super close to the enemy or not. And some characters can float across water or trees or whatever. Nick, or whatever name you give him, will be the primary hero of the first book, the third book, and the fourth book. The second book, there is a different hero, and we'll get to that later. So here is the setting for the first battle, and each battle has a different setting, or almost all of them do. And this wizard parks on your ship as you're sailing to Cypress from Guardiana. And he's brought with him some minions. Some of the dialogue is pretty cool. Some of it's pretty funny. Some of the guys in your party will kind of harass the girls. But you see that little flashing mark that shows the distance that each character can move. So when the cursor is on them, they have to move, or well, you can stay where you are and pass your turn if you want. And once you've stopped, then if you are close enough to attack an enemy, and there's Wendy, the elf mage. When it's determined that you're close enough to attack an enemy, you can choose to attack them, or you can choose to cast a magic spell on them. See, there are the 4 things that you can hold, and one of them right now is a protect ring. And you can level up a little bit, or move your experience points up a little bit with the protect rings, but it takes too damn long to really be of great use. You can increase each character's quickness or defense a little bit, and if you're close enough, then you can keep on using the protect rings as much as you want. Eventually the enemies will come over and start attacking you. Excuse me. Yeah, sorry this game took way too long for me to complete, but it really is an epic RPG, and that's what those typically take, is a really long time. Eventually the protect ring will only give the caster or the user one point of experience, and that's just not really worth it. See, now it's just down to 7 experience points. Excuse me. My throat's a little froggy today. And now an enemy has come over and attacked us. Yeah, early on you're fairly weak, but through at least some careful planning, it shouldn't be too hard a battle. And now I'm going to attack the incubus. With those protect rings, not all characters can use magic. Ooh, that was a good strike. Yeah, Roos is pretty strong. You also get some gold for defeating the enemies. Even if you don't kill an enemy, just for attacking them, you get some experience points. You can even get experience points for healing another party member. And Wendy went up to level 2. Your characters can level up without too much trouble. I think there's like 100 experience points for each character to go up another level. And we're fast forwarding. Like I said, there's no way I'm going to do a full playthrough. This is the end of the first battle. Now, I honestly am not sure who that guy is that's talking to me right now. Is it supposed to be like the spirit of Nick's dad? Because I think Nick's dad was killed or something. I'm not entirely sure. But at the start of the second battle, note that your ship sunk and you had to swim to the land. You have to search. There is a search command, and you'll need to search right where you're standing to get your weapons back. And you'll need to re-equip them. Know the commands and how to get the menus that have the commands. And here we looked under my feet and got an arrow back. Say, remember to do that, and remember to equip them. There we go. Well, there was the equip. Yeah, there's 4 slots for things to have in your possession, and the top one is the one that you're equipped with. And here's us beating these soldiers that were picking on a girl, and her brother, I think it was, Cray, joins you. Yeah, there he is. So we're on the land of Cypress, but we're going to meet resistance fighters like Cray the monk. And after this battle, you can choose to rearrange the order of your members. You can revive members that died. You will get a game over if the lead character dies. Yeah, Nick, or whoever you named him. Whatever you named him. And we now have a shop, and we can purchase items. The music is great, even though there's one particular tune that is kind of overplayed in this game. The character design I really like. The humor, which we haven't really seen much of. You will eventually see it. It's definitely a funny game. I really enjoy this. It is tough for me to get past the trappings of a turn-based tactical RPG. Like I said, I prefer the usual type of RPG. But as you can see, that this game is like battle after battle, and they all play out the same pretty much. You have various characters that can have different ranges of attacks. It just sucks that you can't farm weak enemies over and over and over again to bump up your stats. When you have a character reach level 20, there is an option in that scene where you can, like this, where you have camp, exit, or shop. You will be able to, you see those little blue fireball-looking things. Those are the perished party members that you can revive for a price. But here, Nick has a spell called, what the heck was it called? He has a spell that allows you to go to this scenario. And like I said, you can switch the party members around. If you have a whole bunch of party members, you can take some that are out of the reserve pile and put them in your party. And here, Cray will make the drawbridge come down so you can go across. And he betrays one of the Cypress soldiers. You traitor. And then you can go into the castle. You can't go through that door there. There will be some doorways that enemies can come out of, and you can defeat them over and over again, but eventually they'll be just worth one experience point, so trying to farm enemies just does not work in this game. But like I said, the first book, and yes, we're still in the first book, it has 22 battles. And then Story 2 will have 24 battles. So that's the bulk of the game right there. But once you get those two stories done, then the third story will only have 6 battles, and the fourth story will only have 4 battles. But again, some of those battles can take like 20, 30, or more minutes a piece. I was mentioning once a character gets to level 20, then that scenario where you have exit or shop or whatever, you want to select the option to promote them. And there's so many menus, so many different things you can look at. It's really a deep game, but promoting a character will allow them to get higher levels than just 20. So you need to promote characters that are at level 20. Then their title will change, and they will look a little bit different, and they will be stronger. So definitely promote them when they get to level 20. Yeah, there were other games in the Shining Force series, but I'd only heard of Shining Force 1 and 2, Shining Force CD, and Shining in the Darkness for the Sega Genesis. This was the only one I played, was Shining Force CD, and I didn't play it back in the day. I've just been playing it recently, obviously. Once you beat like 5 or so battles, or get through 5 or so battles, you go to another chapter in the story. And there'll be like 4 or 5 chapters maybe. Claude is a birdman. There will be all sorts of human and non-human party members that you'll come across. And being a birdman, he can fly over the water. Having characters that can fly over water, over any type of land, that's super useful. It doesn't mean they'll have a longer range of movement necessarily. Here's a healer known as Mayfair. She was blinded by Woldol, and she eventually gets her sight restored. And there is a squid character, a couple squid characters. Some of the enemies can attack multiple characters at once. Sometimes they can attack one character multiple times. You can also counterattack, or they can counterattack. And we're getting to the end of story number 1 here. Yeah, we're scooting way forward. There are a bunch of centaur characters in this game. As I think I mentioned, Nick will eventually become king in this game. The characters do not realize at first that he is a prince. And Nick gets a spell cast on him to make his right arm turn to stone. And he gets it restored later. And Nick and his friends return to Guardia. There might be a code, I read that there is, that I couldn't get it to work, that you can rename all the characters. I tried it, I can't remember what it is.
With the alliance of Guardiana and Cypress, they succeeded in waking Queen Anri.
Yeah.
With her waking, peace was once again restored to Guardiana and Cypress. But as long as the right arm of the prince remains as stone, no one can escape from the shadow of the evil Eom Empire.
So yeah, the second story involves the Eom Empire. Cypress and Guardia are allies now, and they send the Guardian force to fight the forces of Eom, and Eom is kind of like a big old cult that worship an evil god named Eom. And that's what the second story is about. We're going to scoot forward past all the credits here and see the ending of Book 1. Well, this is just the first book of Shining Force CD, and it is called Towards the Root of Evil. And we will now get into story 2, which is called The Evil God Awakes. And we will go back to the bookkeeper here. And yeah, you can choose to copy your data, delete data, play a new game, and pick up where you left off. I just love the character designs. They blink a lot more than they should, but yeah, playing super hard is it's beyond my capabilities. And here is we're seeing people being offered to the evil god Iom as a sacrifice, and here is a king being sacrificed, and the king, I believe, is the new main protagonist, his dad. And the new main protagonist in this story is named Deanna. What a weird name for a guy. But he will be the new main protagonist. Nick is still in the story. Cypress and Guardiana are at war with the land of Iom, who worship an evil god of the same name. A young soldier named Deanna is the hero of this story. Nick's army leaves to battle Iom, and the sword of Haya, H-A-Y-A or Haya, is stolen from the castle that Deanna and the others are guarding. They go to land named Emid, I think, to get it back, or a town or something named Emid. Nick is captured, and Deanna's party goes to rescue him from being sacrificed to Iom. There is a character named Natasha, who is the boss of Deanna while he's guarding the castle, and they eventually fall in love and marry. We'll eventually get to the battles, but the battles always play out the same. I mean, you choose where you want to move your character to, decide if you want to battle an enemy if they're within range. You can use items, weapons. You can give items or weapons to another character if you want. And see, Prince Nick looks a little bit more mature. Yeah, I like that they look a little bit different later on in the game in their thumbnail. And their Mayfair got her sight back. Even with an arm of stone, Nick is still be able to fight and lead his parties. Like I said, when you get to level 20, make sure to promote your character. And again, they will have a different title, and they might look a little bit different. And here is Iom being destroyed at the end of Book 2. Deanna loses his brother in the wreckage of this castle or palace or whatever this is. And this guy that was sacrificing people to Ion dies as well. Yeah, Diana's brother dies. There are a couple hidden characters in this game, and you will have to use the search command to find them in certain places. And those are the squid characters. One of them is called Amigo, and one is called Domingo. And yeah, they're squid-like magical creatures, and they can be super useful because they can float over any terrain, and they have powerful magical spells. That was Natasha, who ends up marrying Diana. Get the hell out of here. The third story will involve Queen Anri being kidnapped in sort of a ritual to test Nick's ability to be king. And that story only has 6 battles, and it is called A New Challenge. And yeah, story number 3 and 4 are bonus stories that weren't in Shining Force 1 or 2. And Gyan there, that character is some sort of beast. There are a lot of centaurs in this game. There's centaurs, there's kind of cat creatures, there's bird creatures, and then there's the squid-like ones. There's even a ninja and a samurai that you can come across. But like I said, once your character reaches level 20, get them promoted ASAP. They'll be much stronger. Natasha runs to catch up with Diana, and she falls flat on her face. Yeah, learn the strengths of each character and whether or not you want to keep them in your party. Good characters to have, whatever lead character. Sig is pretty good. Yisha, Apis, Stock, Kashing, Gyan, Claude,
After a fierce
maybe
battle,
Domingo are
the
really
Shining
good
Force
characters.
defeated the evil Eon Empire.
And there's Natasha and
True
Diana.
peace once again was restored to Cypress. And they left Cypress for a journey into the new frontier.
And the new frontier is the new stories. And here is the ending to Book 2 of Shining Force CD. I remember seeing Shining Force CD in the stores, but it was really late in the system's lifespan. But those that played it definitely have a lot of compliments to give it. Definitely is cool. I still prefer the usual trappings of an RPG, not the tactical turn-based ones. And now we're going to get into Book 3. Yeah, Book 3 is called A New Challenge, or Story 3. And again, Queen Anri is kidnapped during Nick's coronation. Nick goes to not only rescue her, but prove that he is worthy of the crown. And not just Nick, I mean, he still has his party. And there will be new characters that you may come across in this story. And these three guys are friends, but they like to tussle with each other. Especially when it comes to like issues with girls. And Natasha comes to chew them out. You've left your posts, despicable. This game is great fun. Sorry, I'm drinking a Coke in your ear. Coke has always relaxed me. And here is an old woman that whisks Queen Anri, or Anri, or however it's pronounced, I forget, away as part of a ritual to prove that Nick is strong enough to recover her and become king. So the old woman isn't really evil, it's just a... You're not very experienced, are you? Yeah, I don't... like I said, I've never played Shining Force 1 or 2, or Shining in the Darkness. I never owned a Game Gear. I think I only played one of the Sonic games for it once. Somebody else had a Game Gear. I had a Game Boy. Speaking of handheld consoles, I had a Game Boy for a long time. I didn't really play much of the handheld systems other than the Game Boy. Yeah, I'll let you be the king if you can save Queen Anri. And there will be a part where you have to face zombies in a graveyard. But, yeah, Egress was the name of the spell that you can cast. Nick has that spell, and there's other characters that may have it. And that'll send you to that area where you can choose to shuffle your characters around, or have them give each other weapons, or equip weapons, or go to the shop. And here Nick becomes king. even RPGs that didn't make it into this top 20 list, they're worth checking out for sure. There's Dark Wizard, there's a number of other ones that are actually quite good. Eye of the Beholder, Dungeons and Dragons. Yeah, the Sega CD in general was a console that was. They definitely had a lot of strong titles. They did.
Became a magnificent king of the peaceful and wealthy kingdom of Cypress.
They did overdo it in the full motion video department. And there the bookkeeper closes the book on Story 1 and Story 2 and Story 3. And now we are going to finish this off and look at the fourth story. Story 4 is called The Museum. There will be a historical museum that holds a statue of Nick's greatest enemies. They will come to life, and you and your party must battle them. And there will be a total of 4 battles. This is a kind of cutesy game. A lot to like about this, even if you don't like tactical turn-based RPGs like me. And we're going to have a look at book number 4 now. Well, I hope you are all surviving in the hot weather. I got some much cooler weather today. The clouds came in and it cooled off. Unfortunately, that meant that the dandelions are trying to come back. I've got to mow my lawn and put out some Roundup. I'll do that tomorrow. Got any major projects you want to do this summer? I've got fence boards that are rotting away and I've got to get them replaced. It's probably going to run me a couple grand. Got to take a crowbar and pull off all the boards. The boards are okay. It's those supporting horizontal pieces that are rotting away that they're nailed to. And this is the museum. And all these statues are coming to life, and they're enemies of Nick and his party. And that was probably Iom up there. And we'll scoot forward to me beating this story here. Was it all a dream? Good morning, Nick. You overslept again. So is he a little boy here? I don't know much about the story of the Shining Force games. But we are going to see the end of the final book in Shining Force CD. Burning staff? Is the staff on fire? Or is it a staff, not like the staff that made this game? But that is Shining Force CD, created by Sonic Software Planning and Sega in 1994 and released in the US in 95. And here are the characters. Nick, and he is the party leader for 3 of the stories. And then there's Roos, and he's a good, strong dwarf warrior and later gladiator. There is Shade, and he is an elf archer and later sniper. There's Apis, centaur knight and later paladin. There is Sig, who is a half giant and a monk and later a master monk. And there's Wendy, the elf mage wizard. And then there is Cray, the monk and master monk. There is Claude, the birdman or later bird warrior. And there is Stock, centaur ranger or bow knight. Mayfair, priest or later vicar. And there is Yisha, mage and later wizard. There's Gyan, who's a beast and later berserker. And there's the hidden Domingo, and he's a squid-like magical creature. Find him in Book 1, Battle 12. There is Kashing, who's a centaur knight and later paladin. There's Gates, who's a dwarf gladiator. Shriek, the bird battler. Randolph, the centaur paladin. Amigo, squid-like magical creature, also hidden in Book 1, Battle, was that 14 or something? There's Lug, dwarf warrior gladiator. There's Deanna, the male swordsman hero of Book 2. And there's his later wife, Natasha, mage wizard. And there's Jaha, a dwarf warrior and later gladiator. There's Eric, a centaur knight and later paladin. There is Dawn, a female centaur and later paladin. There's Luke, a monk and later master monk. There is Slade, a priest and later vicar. And next up is Graham, another centaur ranger and later bow knight. There's Chester, an elf archer and later sniper. And there is May, a foxling. They call her foxling, but she doesn't look like a fox. Mage and wizard. And Sarah, a Cantal vicar, kind of maybe dog-like. There's Rode, a dwarf gladiator. Hanzo, a ninja and later super ninja. And Musashi, who is a samurai and later swordsmaster. And that was Shining Force CD, game number 9 in our 20 from the Sega CD series, created by Sonic Software Planning and Sega in 1994 and released in the US in 95. Well, thank you for watching. I hope you join me soon for game number 8 in our series. Bye-bye, folks.